She thought her father's silent suffering was just part of life, until one brave student decided to stand up for justice. What happened next will shock you, because sometimes the smallest voices can ignite the biggest change. In this story, you'll see how a kind janitor's quiet pain sparked a rebellion against greed and unfairness, showing that courage can come from the most unlikely places. And here's the twist you won't see coming. A secret leader emerges from the shadows, risking everything to fight back. You'll want to stay until the very end to find out how this story of injustice transforms into hope, and how the students and Pedro teach us all about standing up for what's right. If you believe in the power of kindness and bravery, hit that like button now and drop a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Do you think one person can really make a difference? Stay tuned, because what happens next will inspire you to never stay silent. I woke up early that morning. The sun was shining softly through my window. I yawned and stretched. Today was just another day at the school, but I knew it would be a long day. I put on my old uniform. It was simple, but it was clean. I grabbed my broom and dustpan. I loved my job as the janitor. I took care of the school, and I liked helping the teachers and students. As I walked through the school halls, I felt happy. I liked the quiet. I liked the smell of clean floors. I thought about my family, my daughters. I worked hard so I could buy them food and clothes. But sometimes things made me sad. I remembered how the school's boss, the principal, treated me. He was strict and often looked angry. He never said thank you. Sometimes he asked me to do more than I could. That day started like any other. I cleaned the hallways and swept the classrooms. I smiled when I saw the children playing outside. They ran and laughed. I wished I could do more for them. At lunchtime, I sat outside on a small bench. My daughters, Maria and Rosa, called me from across the yard. They were waiting for me to bring their lunch. I waved to them and went to get their food. Suddenly, I heard whispering nearby. I looked around. Some students were talking quietly. They were watching me with kind eyes. I didn't know them well, but I could see they cared. One boy, Sam, came over. He looked worried. "Mr. Pedro," he whispered, "do you need help?" I shook my head gently. "No, thank you, Sam. I'm fine, just doing my work." He looked at me with concern. I saw that some students felt sad or scared. I wondered why. Later, I saw the principal. He was talking with some teachers. He looked very serious. I heard him say, "Expenses are too high. We must cut costs everywhere." I knew what he meant. They were trying to save money. I felt a little worried, but I kept working. That evening, I sat on my chair at home. My daughters played nearby. I thought about the school, about how I worked hard every day. I loved my job, but I also felt tired. I looked at my daughters' smiling faces. I promised myself I would do my best for them. No matter how hard things got, I would stay kind and strong. As I closed my eyes that night, I didn't imagine the trouble ahead. I only thought of my family and the small hope that someday things would change. And so my story begins. A story about a quiet man, a big school, and the seeds of something new. The day was just beginning, but I already knew it would be different. Because sometimes, even in silence, there is a whisper of change. That was the first day of what would someday become much more. The next morning, I woke up early. I put on my old uniform and grabbed my tools. I loved my job as the janitor. I cleaned the hallways and fixed small things. It made me happy to know I helped keep the school running. But even though I worked hard, I felt tired inside. The school was a big place, and sometimes I saw how unfair things could be. I knew the principal cared more about money than about the students or us workers. That made me sad. Today, I saw some students whispering in the hallway. They looked worried. I smiled at them as I passed by, but I could see in their eyes that they had secrets. I didn't ask questions. I just kept cleaning. One girl, Sarah, was talking quietly to her friend. I heard her say, "It's not right. Pedro works so hard, but they pay him nothing. How can they do that?" Her friend nodded. They looked scared but also angry. I felt a little hope. Maybe I wasn't the only one who saw what was wrong. Maybe the students knew too. Later that day, I saw a group of students sitting in a corner. They were talking quietly. I paused nearby and listened. Maybe we should do something, a boy whispered. But what? We're just students. A girl said, maybe we can tell the teachers, or maybe we can make a plan. I watched from a distance. I wished I could tell them not to worry. I wanted to say, you are brave, but I didn't want to interrupt. I just kept working around them, pretending I hadn't noticed. That afternoon, I sat on a bench outside. I looked at the sky. I thought about my daughters, Maria and Rosa. They were waiting for me at home. I thought about how much I wanted to do something to help them. It was hard. I felt small compared to the big school and the principal's office. But I also felt something stronger. I felt that maybe, just maybe, things could change. I remembered the students whispering. I wondered if they would stand up. I felt a little spark inside me. I knew I had to be quiet for now, but I also knew that one day I wanted to be part of the change. That night, I hugged my daughters tight. I told them I loved them. I promised I would work hard and try to make their future better. As I fell asleep, I thought about the quiet hope I felt that day. Change didn't come all at once. It started with small secrets, soft sighs, and brave hearts. And I knew that the next days would bring more secrets, more whispers. And maybe, just maybe, something big was coming. Because when many small voices come together, they can make a loud, strong sound. And that sound can shake the walls of even the biggest school. I woke up early the next morning. The sun shone through the window, but I didn't feel happy. My mind was full of worries. Yesterday, I saw the students talking quietly in the hallways. I could tell they were planning something. I wondered what it was. I put on my work clothes. I grabbed my bucket and mop. Today, I needed to clean the school. But my mind was busy. I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what. As I walked through the school, I saw the students whispering in small groups. They looked at me and nodded quickly. I smiled back, but I felt nervous. I went to clean the classrooms. Some students peeked out from their rooms. I caught one girl's eye. She looked scared but determined. I felt a tiny spark of hope. Later, I saw the valedictorian standing alone near the gym door. She looked serious. I walked over. "Good morning," I said softly. She nodded. "Good morning, Mr. Pedro. Are you okay?" I asked. She hesitated. Then she whispered, "We are planning something. Something big." My heart beat faster. I asked, "What are you planning?" She looked around and then whispered, "We want to tell the principal that what he's doing is not right. We want him to change." I was surprised. I had not expected her to be so brave. I looked at her and said, "That is very brave of you." She nodded. "We are tired of being afraid. We want things to be fair." I looked at her and felt proud. I knew she was becoming a strong leader. That afternoon, I saw the students gather in the library. They were talking quietly, making plans. The valedictorian was speaking. I listened from a distance. "Tomorrow," he said, "we will all walk out of school together. We will show we are serious. We want the school to be fair and kind." Some students nodded. Others looked nervous, but they all wanted change. I thought about my own daughters. They were waiting for me at home. I wanted a better school for them too. I wanted them to learn and grow without fear. That night, I sat at my small table and looked at a photo of my daughters. I whispered, "I will do my best to help. I will be brave too." The next day, I saw the students outside the school. They stood in a line, holding signs. Some signs said, "Fairness for all," and "Respect the workers." The principal saw them. He looked angry. He shouted, "What is going on? Come back to class." But the students did not move. They stayed firm and silent. The valedictorian stepped forward. She spoke loudly, so everyone could hear. "Principal," she said, "we are here to ask you to listen. We want you to treat everyone fairly. Not just the rich or powerful, but all of us." The principal looked surprised. He stammered, but he did not say anything. The students' walkout grew bigger. More students joined in. Suddenly, the principal called the police. The police arrived and told the students to go back inside. But the students refused. They stood together, quietly showing they meant what they said. Watching all of this, I felt a strange mix of fear and pride. I saw children and teenagers standing up for themselves. They were no longer afraid to speak out. That afternoon, the principal called a meeting. He looked worried. He told everyone he would listen and try to fix things. I saw the valedictorian smile slightly. She knew they had made a difference. Later, I went back to my work. I felt tired but hopeful. I saw the students talking and hugging each other. I knew they had started something important. That night, I sat with my daughters. I told them, "Today I saw brave children stand up. They are showing us that even the smallest voice can make a big change." I looked at the stars outside my window. I thought about how kindness, courage, and standing up for what is right can make the world better. And I promised myself, I will do my part too, because I believe that everyone deserves respect, fairness, and kindness, including me and my family and all the children in that school. That was the start of something new, and I knew, deep inside, that more changes were coming, and I was ready to be part of them. I woke up early that morning. The school was quiet, but I could feel something in the air. I grabbed my mop and bucket and headed to work. As I walked through the empty halls, I thought about how everything was changing. It had been hard lately. The students were upset. They wanted to be treated fairly. I could see it in their faces when they talked quietly in the corners. They looked scared, but also brave. I hoped they would be okay. I started cleaning the cafeteria. My back was sore, but I kept going. I wanted to do my job well. I loved my work, even if it was hard sometimes. I thought about my daughters. I wanted to make their future better. That kept me going. Suddenly, I heard footsteps. I looked up. It was Lisa, one of the students. She looked worried. "Pedro," she whispered. "Something is happening today. The students are planning to leave the school. They want to show the principal they are serious." I nodded slowly. "I see. That's brave of them. But it's also dangerous. They could get in trouble." Lisa's eyes shined with hope. "We don't care about trouble. We want things to change. The principal needs to listen." I looked at her. I felt proud. These young people were not afraid anymore. They wanted justice. I knew I had to support them, even if I didn't say it out loud. As the day went on, I saw more students gather in secret. They whispered and passed notes. I saw the valedictorian, Maria, talking quietly with some friends. She looked serious, but strong. She had a plan, I knew. I finished my work and sat down for a moment. I looked out the window. The sun was bright, but I felt a shadow in my heart. I remembered the times I was told to stay quiet about the unfair things. Now, I saw the students rising up. I wondered if things would really change. Later, I saw Maria approach me. She looked at me with kind eyes. "Pedro," she said softly, "thank you for all you do. Today we are going to walk out of school. We want the principal to hear us. We believe in fairness. Will you support us?" I felt my heart beat faster. I wanted to tell her to stay safe, but I only nodded. "I believe in you, Maria. Do what's right. I hope you all stay safe." She smiled and turned away. I watched her walk toward her friends. I knew this was just the beginning. The students were ready to stand up for what they believed was right. That afternoon, the school bell rang. The students began to leave their classrooms quietly. They walked out together. Some teachers looked surprised. Some tried to stop them, but the students kept going. Outside, hundreds of students were gathered in the schoolyard. They held signs and shouted, "Fairness now and respect for all." The principal came outside. He looked angry and worried. He shouted, "Stop this at once. You are breaking the rules." But Maria stepped forward. She held her head high. "Principal," she said clearly, "we are not breaking rules. We are asking for justice. We want to be treated fairly. We will stay outside until you listen." The principal looked around. The crowd was big now. Students from other classes joined them. Some parents arrived, watching quietly from the sides. I watched from a distance. My heart was full of mixed feelings. I was proud of the students, but I also worried about what might happen next. As I cleaned near the school gate, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Maria's teacher, Mr. Garcia. "You did well, Pedro," he said quietly. "The students are strong because they believe in what's right. We all need to stand with them." I nodded softly. I looked at the students. They were brave, standing tall in the sunlight. I thought about my daughters. I wanted a better future for them, for all children. That day, I saw something new. I saw courage. I saw hope. I saw young people ready to change the world. And deep inside, I knew things would never be the same again. I woke up early that morning. Sunshine peeked through the window. I felt tired but determined. Today was an important day. I was about to see how much things had changed. I put on my old work clothes. I knew I had to keep working, but I also felt a different kind of strength inside me now. I was no longer just the janitor who cleaned floors. I was part of something bigger. As I walked into the school, I saw the hallways full of students. They looked serious. Some whispered quietly to each other. I saw the valedictorian standing at the front of the crowd. She looked confident, like a leader. I went to her and whispered, "Are you ready?" She nodded. "Yes, Mr. Pedro. Today, we send a message. We want things to be fair." I smiled softly. I remembered when I was quiet and afraid. Now I was proud of her and the students. They had become brave. The principal saw the crowd. His face looked worried. He called some teachers to stand nearby, but we all knew the students had already made up their minds. Suddenly, the students started to leave the classroom. They walked out together, loudly but peacefully. They didn't want to stay silent anymore. They wanted their voices to be heard. The principal shouted, "Stop, come back!" But most students kept walking. They left their classes and headed outside into the bright sunlight. I watched as the valedictorian stepped forward. She held a piece of paper and spoke loudly so everyone could hear. "Principal, we are tired of unfair rules," she said. "We want change. We want you to listen, or else more of us will walk out. We will not go back until you do what is right." Her words made my heart beat faster. She was brave. I felt proud of her. The students clapped and cheered. They showed there was strength in unity. The principal looked angry. He tried to stop them, but he saw he couldn't. The school was now full of students outside, standing together. I went to the principal and whispered, "It's okay. The students are right. They want a better school. We have to listen." He looked surprised. For a moment he said nothing. Then he nodded slowly. "Maybe it's time I listen," he said softly. Inside, I felt a mix of happiness and hope. The students had done something brave. They had shown that when people stand together, they can make a difference. As I watched the students, I thought about my daughters. I wanted them to grow up in a fair world. I wanted them to have a future where everyone is treated kindly and fairly. That day, something changed. The school was not the same anymore. The students learned that their voices matter, and I learned that kindness and courage can defeat greed and unfairness. I stayed outside with the students for a while. We all felt proud. We knew that this was just the beginning. Things could get better if we all worked together. When the day ended, I walked home slowly. The school was still noisy with voices and footsteps. I looked back at the building and smiled. I knew, deep inside, that justice was not just a dream anymore. It was happening, and I promised myself I would never stop fighting for what is right. Because even a small voice can turn into a loud, powerful shout. That was the start of something new, and I felt happy and hopeful for what was to come. I woke up early the next morning. I was a little nervous. The school had been loud and busy the day before. Today, I could feel that something was changing. I grabbed my broom and walked into the hallways. Everything looked normal. The floors were shiny and clean, but I could hear quiet whispers and footsteps around me. The students were talking in secret groups. I saw Maria, one of the students I trust. She looked at me and smiled softly. "Pedro," she whispered, "we are getting ready for tomorrow. Everything is planned." I nodded. I felt a little proud. The kids were brave. They wanted to stand up for what is right. I wanted to help them, but I didn't know how yet. Suddenly, I saw the valedictorian, Lisa. She was talking quietly with a few students. She looked serious but confident. I knew she was the leader of everything happening now. She saw me and came over. "Pedro," she said softly, "we're going to do something big tomorrow. We're going to walk out of school to show how we feel. We want the school to listen." My heart raced. I felt happy that Lisa was brave enough to lead. I also felt a little worried for her, but I knew she believed it was the right thing. I asked, "Are you sure? Will it be safe?" She nodded. "Yes, we've planned it carefully. We want everyone to be safe, but we also want them to see that we are serious. That night, I couldn't sleep much. I kept thinking about the students, Lisa, and the future. I wondered what would happen tomorrow. The next morning, the sky was bright. The school looked peaceful from the outside, but inside, I knew things were about to change. At first, the students gathered in small groups. They were nervous, but full of courage. They had made posters and signs. Some showed words like fairness and respect. I saw Lisa and a few others start to walk toward the main door. Then more students joined. Soon, a big group was walking out of the school gates together. The principal saw them and got angry. He shouted, "Stop! What are you doing?" But the students kept walking. They were not afraid anymore. They wanted to be heard. I watched from a distance. I felt a mix of pride and fear. I wanted the students to win, but I also knew the principal would not give up easily. Suddenly, Lisa stepped forward. She held her sign high and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "We are walking out because we want to be treated fairly. We want to see change." Her voice was clear and brave. I saw many students nodding and cheering her on. Even some teachers looked surprised. The principal looked angry. He tried to stop them, but the students kept moving. They were no longer afraid to speak out. I felt my eyes start to sting. I think I was about to cry. I was proud of Lisa and all the students. They had shown real courage. After that, the principal finally spoke. He told the teachers to talk with the students. He listened to their words. He looked sad and tired. That day, something changed. The school was not the same anymore. The students learned they could stand up for themselves, and I learned that even the smallest voice can make a big difference. As I watched the students walk back into the school later, I smiled. I knew that tomorrow was the start of something new, a day when kindness and courage were stronger than greed and unfair rules, and I was proud to be part of it. I woke up early that morning. The sun was shining, but I felt a strange feeling in my stomach. Today was the day the students had been talking about for weeks. It was the day they would walk out of school to show they cared about fairness. I got ready slowly. My daughters were nervous. They hugged me and whispered, "Be safe, Dad." I smiled and nodded. I knew this was important. I wanted to support them, even if I didn't say much. When I arrived at school, I saw many students standing outside. They held signs and banners. Some signs said, "Fairness for Pedro." Others said, "Respect our school." The students looked serious but hopeful. They were ready to make their voices heard. I watched quietly from a corner. I felt proud. These kids, my friends, were brave. They didn't want to stay silent anymore. Suddenly, I saw Lisa, the valedictorian, step forward. She was tall and confident. She took a deep breath and spoke loudly so everyone could hear. "Today we stand together," she said. "We want our school to be fair. We want everyone to be treated with respect. We won't stay quiet anymore." Her words made my heart beat faster. I saw students cheer and clap. Some had tears in their eyes. They believed in what they were doing. The principal ran out of the school building. His face looked worried. "Stop this now," he shouted. "Go back to class." But the students didn't listen. They kept walking out. They moved across the schoolyard, leaving the building behind. It was a big protest. More students joined as they saw their friends outside. I saw Maria, another student leader, holding a big sign. She looked brave. She was yelling, "We want justice." The teachers tried to stop some students. They told them to go back inside. But the students held firm. They wanted to make a change. I walked closer to Lisa. I whispered, "You're very brave today." She smiled and said, "We have to do this. We can't stay silent anymore." The crowd outside grew larger. Kids who used to be afraid now shouted and waved their signs. They believed they could make a difference. Inside the school, the principal was talking loudly on the phone. He looked angry. He was trying to find a way to stop the protest. But I knew it was too late. This was just the beginning. As the morning went on, more students joined the walkout. They were standing up for themselves and for Pedro. They wanted the school to be fair for everyone. I felt a warm feeling inside. I knew that today something important was happening. The students were showing their courage. They were saying, "We are not afraid. We want change." When the protest reached its peak, Lisa stepped forward again. She looked at all the students and then at the school building. She raised her voice and said, "Principal, we are here to tell you that things need to change. We want a school where everyone is treated fairly, students, teachers, and parents, and workers like Pedro. If you don't listen, more of us will come out and stand up." That moment was powerful. The principal was quiet. He looked down, thinking. The students cheered again. They knew they had made an impact. Today they showed everyone that their voices mattered. I watched from a distance, feeling very proud of all of them. I thought about Pedro, my friend, who worked so hard and never complained. Today, he felt a little hope. People were finally noticing the unfairness he had suffered. As the day ended, many students went home tired but happy. They had stood up for what's right. They believed they could bring change, and I believed it too. Today was a big step. The school wouldn't be the same after this. The students showed that when many people come together, they can make a difference. They learned that it's okay to speak up, even if it's hard. Maybe, just maybe, things would get better. And I knew one thing for sure. The fight for justice had just begun. I wake up early in the morning. The sun is shining, and I feel a little nervous. Today is a big day. I know the students are ready for their protest. I walk slowly through the school halls. Everything looks normal on the outside, but inside I can feel the tension. My heart beats faster. I remember how hard things have been lately. The principal has been unfair to us, especially to me. He takes money from my pay without asking. He makes me choose which daughter I love more. It is not right. But I have hope now. The students are strong. They want to change things. I go to the teacher's room and see the valedictorian, Lisa. She is sitting at her desk, looking serious. I walk over and smile softly. "Are you ready?" I ask her. She nods. "Yes, Mr. Pedro, we are ready. The students are waiting outside." I breathe deeply. Today, we will see if our friends will stand up for what is right. I tell Lisa, "Be brave. You are doing the right thing." She smiles and says, "I will. We all will." Later, I see the students gathering outside the school. They have posters and banners. Some of them look nervous, but most look determined. I feel proud of them. They are no longer afraid. Suddenly, Lisa steps forward. She takes a loud breath and lifts her voice. "Everyone, we are tired of being treated unfairly. We want justice. We are walking out of school today to show we care." She speaks clearly and loudly. Her voice is strong. The students cheer and clap. They start to walk out of the school gates, one after another. The principal sees this from his office. He looks surprised. His face turns red. "What is happening?" he shouts. "Stop that now." But the students keep walking. They are united. They want to be heard. Inside the school, the teachers watch. Some look worried, but others nod quietly. They know the students have made a brave choice. The principal storms out of his office. "Stop this at once," he yells. "Go back inside." Lisa turns and faces him. She steps closer and says firmly, "We will not go back until you listen. We want fair treatment for everyone, including Pedro." The principal looks angry. He tries to shout, but then pauses. He sees how serious the students are. I stand behind Lisa, watching. I feel my eyes get wet. I'm proud of her. She is brave. The students are brave. The crowd outside grows. More students join. They walk and shout their messages. They want change. They want respect. In that moment, I know something important. The students are not just children anymore. They are voices for justice. They are rising up to make things better. I step forward and call out to everyone. This is just the beginning. We are showing that we will not be afraid. We will stand together. The principal looks around and sees the big crowd. His face is tired and confused. He knows he cannot stop them all. The day feels different now. It is not just a school day. It is a day for change. As I watch the students march and shout, I feel a warm feeling inside. I know that we are all part of something powerful. We are fighting for what is right. When the walkout ends, Lisa and the students gather around. They look tired but happy. They did what no one thought they could do. I go to Lisa and say, "You are a true leader. Today, you showed everyone that even young voices can make a big difference." She smiles and says, "We did it together, Mr. Pedro. We all helped." I nod and look up at the blue sky. I feel hopeful. This is not the end. It is just the beginning of something better. That evening, I sit quietly at home. I think about all that has happened. I feel proud of the students and myself. We stood up to unfairness. We showed that kindness and courage can change the world. Tomorrow, we will see what happens next. But I know one thing for sure. The school will never be the same, and neither will I. I woke up feeling a little nervous. Today was important. I had seen how things had changed. The students were stronger now, and I knew that soon everything would come to a big moment. I walked into the school. The halls looked the same, but I could feel a new energy in the air. People were talking quietly. Some students looked at me and nodded. I nodded back. I felt proud and a little scared, too. At the front of the school, the principal was sitting in his office. His face looked worried. He knew that the students were ready for something big. The principal had been bossy for a long time, but now he was starting to think about what might happen next. I went to find the valedictorian, Lisa. She was talking with a few students in the hallway. She looked confident. She had become a true leader. I saw her smile and felt hope. "Lisa," I said softly, "are you ready?" She looked at me and nodded. "Yes, Mr. Pedro. Today is the day we show what we believe. We will stand up for what's right." I listened as she explained her plan. The students would walk out of the school together. They wanted the principal to listen. They wanted to be treated fairly. I felt a big wave of pride for them. Suddenly, I remembered all the hard times, the unfair pay, the tough choices I had to make, the way I was ignored. I felt tears coming to my eyes. But this time, they were tears of hope, not sadness. Just then, the students started to leave the classroom. They quietly gathered in the hall. They wore determined faces. I looked at them and knew, deep down, that they were changing the school. The principal saw the students walking out. He looked angry and worried. He started to shout, but Lisa stepped forward. "Principal," she said loudly but calmly, "we are not just leaving because we want fun. We are leaving because we want fairness. We want respect for everyone, including Pedro." The principal's face turned red. He knew he had no choice. He listened as Lisa spoke. Her words made him think about what he had done. I watched as he finally nodded. He looked like he was realizing his mistakes. He looked like he was beginning to understand that he could change too. The students kept walking. They moved together, strong and brave. I felt my heart fill with pride. This was a moment of true change. As they reached the school gate, everyone cheered. The school was quiet for a moment. Then I heard the students talking about their hopes. They wanted a better school, a fair school, a kind school. I went outside and looked at all of them. I felt happy inside. I remembered how I used to work silently, hoping for better days. Now I knew that words and actions could make a real difference. I walked over to Lisa and the other students. I smiled and said, "Thank you. You are very brave. You have made a big change today." Lisa smiled back. "We couldn't have done it without you, Mr. Pedro. You showed us how to be strong. You were the first to stand up for what was right." I felt my heart get warm. I looked at the school, at the students, and at the future. I knew things would never be perfect, but I also knew that kindness and courage could make a new beginning. That day, I cried tears of joy, not because I was sad, but because I felt hope. Hope for a better school, hope for a better world. And I knew that this was only the start. The school would never forget what happened, and neither would I. Because sometimes a small act of kindness can lead to a big change. As I watched the students walk away, I whispered to myself, "Thank you for believing. Thank you for being brave." And I promised myself I would keep working, keep caring, and keep hoping. because I believe that kindness and courage can fix anything. Today, the school bled a little, but from that blood, something new was born, something strong and good, and I was proud to be part of it. I wake up early on the morning of the big day. I feel tired, but also a little excited. Today is the day everything will change. I walk slowly through the school halls, now quiet and still. The students have been planning for days. They are ready to show everyone what they believe in. I see Lisa, the valedictorian, standing near the school door. She looks brave and strong. She smiles when she sees me. "Are you ready, Mr. Pedro?" she asks softly. I nod. Yes, I am proud of all of you. The students gather outside. They are holding signs. Some say fairness for all, others say we want respect. They look determined. I hold my breath and remember when I was just a quiet janitor. Now I see they're leading. They're the ones who are brave enough to speak out. Suddenly, Lisa steps forward. She raises her voice and speaks loud and clear. "We are here today because we want things to change. We want our school to be a place of fairness. We will walk out if we need to make our voices heard." Her words make many students cheer. The principal comes outside quickly. His face looks worried. He tries to talk, but Lisa stops him. "We gave you a chance," she says. "We are leaving now because you haven't listened. We want you to understand that we deserve respect." The students start to walk out of the school. Step by step, they leave the building. Some parents and teachers watch in surprise. The schoolyard fills with noise and energy. The students are not afraid anymore. From behind, I see the principal looking angry. He shouts but doesn't stop the students. He knows things are changing, and he feels he has lost control. As the students walk away, I walk with them. I feel proud. I know this is a big moment. They're showing that they believe in what is right. Later, in the school office, the principal calls the teachers and some leaders. He looks tired and sad. He finally admits, "Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should listen more." Lisa's voice echoes in my mind. She said, "We want a school where everyone is treated fairly, not just the rich or the powerful." My heart feels full of hope. I see the students talking happily, knowing they did something important. They stood up for themselves, for Pedro, and for everyone who ever felt ignored or hurt. That day, the school is not the same. It's a little brighter, a little kinder. We all learned that when people come together, they can make a big change. I walk home that evening, thinking about my daughters. I know I did the right thing. I feel proud of the students. And I believe in a future where kindness and courage can defeat greed and unfairness. That is how justice wins. That is how the school begins to heal. And I know that many more good days are ahead.